Dearest, gentle listeners, you are listening to the Ladies Bridgerton, the talk of the ton. We are your effervescent host, your neighborhood-friendly Kiwi, Tash from Middle-earth, New Zealand.
And Patty, Regency romance enthusiast, currently about to be in her traveling Colin era.
Settle down onto your favorite settee as we delve into the lives of the elite and illustrious ladies, lords, and royalty of the ton. This Bridgerton podcast is two friends talking. I was like, what are we up to?
Are we?
Are we? What are we talking about? Who knows? Talking romance, symbolism, Easter eggs, and choo-choo goes the boat. Deep diving into the connections of our favorite characters. We cover both book, TV series, and notable social media, and therefore will contain spoilers.
Right, which is why I told Sidious not to put out a warning count. We tell everybody every episode.
We can't keep anything in, okay? We've got no secret keeping abilities whatsoever.
None. Zero. Okay, dearest listeners, first of all, we are throwing this recording session together to make sure we have enough episodes to cover our break, because did we coordinate our vacations?
Yes.
No. Hello. Oh, he got face painted.
No.
At school. You got your face painted at school?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you today?
What are you?
Beer.
Are you're a bear?
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Normally
look
he can't hear me.
Like the mommy.
No. You definitely look like a bear, don't you, Auntie Patty?
Yeah, I just thought, how is he hearing me?
Like
No. It definitely looks like a bear to me. I don't know what you're talking about.
I guess tiger, because it looks a little orange.
Just look
No.
like the mommy.
But I'm seeing it.
It.
I'm seeing
Mommy,
it
you
far
look
away on the
like
internet.
mommy.
Dearest listeners, we are trying to squeeze in this recording so that we can have enough episodes to cover our long intermittents, because when you're gifted a cruise for Christmas, you cannot coordinate your vacation with your podcast partner. You kind of have to go with the week that they picked. So
Yes. So we've got Patty who's going away for 1 week, and then she's back for 1 day in between when she's back and I fly out, and then I am back for 1 day and then go away for an additional 5 days. So there is a 3.5 week period where we are both away straight.
yeah. So, but was I going to turn down a Christmas cruise? No.
I would have gone on it for you if you'd been like, nah.
No, I almost did. And then I was like, no, I really want to go. And then he railroaded me. Theme of the episode.
Well.
And then now that it's over, like that whole initial like booking and everything's over, now I'm like, yes, I'm going on a cruise. I am.
I'm on a boat, mother.
I'm going on a journey. I'm going on an adventure. Okay. Dearest
all right,
listeners,
Colin, calm down.
The first steam railway journey took place in 1804, and 9 years later, Araminta Cowper and Francesca Bridgerton illustrate how railroading works in the connection of human to human. Araminta, proving she is the worst mother in the ton, leaves Cressida to step to the queen's interrogation alone, acting more as a chaperone than a mother. And Fran, being nowhere near the level of intimate as Colin and Penelope, is rushing the Kilmartin Bridgerton nuptials, stealing Pollen's cute speed up the wedding date story from their book. Although she doesn't say they've already done it for weeks and weeks, and I really wanted to see that, but I digress. We analyze how these dynamics play into the anxieties of both Cressida and Violet that fuel their decisions as they progress. Then we visit Portia giving her motherly advice to Penelope, so we can see 3 young women struggling with the wisdom from their mother being the products of their we definitely see the generational divide in this episode.
Oh, yeah. I forgot.
Now, but before we go into pod snacks in this actual episode, I have coined a new phrase that we're going to use from now on. It's called the tangent travesty. And that is when we tangent so much that we forget to say something we intended to say in a previous episode.
Yeah, every episode.
So my tangent travesty that I want to bring up now is from the okay, you can have a tangent travesty also.
I don't remember it.
I only remembered it because as I was going into the scenes we're talking about today, I saw the exit of Eloise from Penelope's room, and I was like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot to say that. So the tangent travesty occurs in the room with Penelope and Eloise when Eloise tells her, like, drop whistle down, let Cressida take the credit. And we've talked about the theming of mirrors and what they mean in this whole season. And I can't believe that I completely forgot to talk about the mirror, because the mirror's in the corner of the room. And we see the mirror does not lie, right? The looking glass does not lie. So when Eloise enters the room, the mirror only catches her back. You do not see her face. It's just her back. And the way it's angled, she's blocking Penn. So we know as Eloise enters the room that they're both guarded. They're both hiding from each other in a way. They're not fully transparent yet. But when they've had their conversation, now there's still, Penelope still hasn't says, but I like being Lady Whistledown. You know what I mean? Like, she says she's built it, but she doesn't say she loves it. She likes it. And I think if she would have confided in Eloise that she really enjoyed writing, that would be different. But she didn't. But when Eloise left the room, we see Eloise's face as she's exiting, and we see Penelope's image in the mirror as well, which tells me that they have cleared the air. They've become more transparent with each other. And this is their moment, much like Colin and Penn outside the Modiste. Some things had to be said, right? So I just wanted to bring that up. I had that in my notes from the last time. I completely forgot because we tangented all over the place. So that is my tangent travesty from the last podcast episode.
And to kind of tack on to that, I kind of have had this thought about, this wasn't I don't remember what my tangent. I was listening to the pod as I was editing it. I was like, oh no, why didn't I bring that up? But this is about,
I do that all the time.
But this is to your point that I kind of think that Eloise and Colin kind of get blindsided by the Whistledown reveal so hard, because just as we see that Penelope has put Colin on a pedestal, I think that both of them kind of put Penelope on a pedestal in a way as well, as she is this perfectly innocent, sweet,
naive,
doesn't talk back, goes along with whatever we want, is very agreeable, which was such a admired trait in a young woman back then. And I think
as a friend, I mean, do we honestly think that Prudence and Philippa had friends as children? I think that they were Penelope's only escape, and she was so afraid of losing them as friends that she basically just went along with everything. And she was their little ray of sunshine, right? Like, in a house where there's so many people that you cannot always get your way, these two always got their way with Penelope. I promise you, based on her personality and the way she is in her own home, and she doesn't really start talking back until she's out in the ton, right? She starts challenging her mother a little bit.
I think that Colin, if it was the three of them together, I think it would have been Eloise saying, I want this, and Colin saying, Penelope, is that what you want? And Penelope would be like, oh, I'm happy with whatever. I'm just happy to be included.
Right. I think, like, if Colin and she are playing, because like I said, I think like they acted stuff, and Eloise was like, no, I want to act out these books we're reading, and I think Penelope knew how to manage the two of them as children. Like, I wrote a whole fanfic on it, like, not about that specifically, but I have that in there where they get along because Penelope's present, kind of thing. Like, they antagonize
because
each
she's
other.
The mediator.
Yeah, she's their mediator, but that's because she wants everyone to be happy, because the Bridgerton home is happiness for her. And I think that the two of them are struggling being angry with her. They've never needed to be angry with her in the past. It's a foreign feeling. They've never been angry. So they don't know how to overcome that, how to repair that. They're stuck with their own siblings, right? And I think that's why Colin moves through his faster than Eloise, because he has already asked her to marry him. They're getting married, and he knows they're going to be family. And I think the Bridgertons who suck at repair just look at it like, well, they're your family member. You're stuck with them, so you better get over it. And I think that's why Colin moves through it faster. But yeah, I think that's why they're struggling with anger.
Bridgerton news first, so I can kind of segue into the Eloise kind of news. So in this season, we are going to get a lot more Eloise and Benedict, which of course we love. One of the few times where Eloise isn't being a brat. So this is the synopsis that we have now been given for season 4 from Shondaland and JB. I will not even justify no, and not no, it is not Justin Bieber.
We're not rewarding poor
From Shondaland
behavior.
and Justin Bieber. That's what it's going to be from now on. From Shondaland and Justin Bieber, Bridgerton returns for a fairy tale inspired 4th season. Bohemian second son, like Bohemian, like that is just not Harry. But no, Bohemian second son. Benedict Bridgerton.
I get where they're
aka
coming from, Bohemian, but France Bohemian, and like that lifestyle was late 1800s. Just saying.
Luke Thompson refuses to settle down despite pleas to the contrary from matriarch Lady Violet Bridgerton, Ruth Gemmell, until at Violet's masquerade ball, Benedict is awestruck by a masked, mysterious lady in silver. With the reluctant help of his sister Eloise, Benedict sets out in society to uncover the young lady's identity, but in fact his heart's desire is not in society at all. She is a resourceful maid called Sophie Bayek, working for the formidable lady of the house Araminta Gunn. When fate brings Benedict and Sophie back together, Benedict wrestles with the reality of his affection for this intriguing maid and the fantasy of the lady in silver, unaware that they are the same person. Will Benedict's inability to see these women as one and the same derail the undeniable spark between him and Sophie? And can love truly conquer anything, even a cross-class connection forbidden by society? Inspiring Benedict's journey as are the marriages of his siblings, including Francesca to John Sterling, to Penelope and Colin, who face Colin and Penelope, who now faces new challenges as a now public gossip columnist. That was just written in a way that was really hard to read, if that makes sense. Like it doesn't and then constantly putting all the actors' names in. Although I think it is respectful to the actors, it kind of ruins the flow of the article, and they had a lot of run-on sentences in there, which makes it incredibly hard to read out loud.
That's the synopsis as written by Netflix. So
I would say it was actually written by AI. All of that now, that is not, it's not a human touch. I can tell when it's got.
Yeah, but and that's the reason I'm specifying that it was like that's Netflix, because it's not like one of the writers of Bridgerton wrote that. It is PR from Netflix themselves, and they're going to just feed it into AI. They probably had AI scan what they have so far. If they've been presented with anything, and they said, give us a synopsis of these episodes, and that's what it came up with.
I feel so old where I'm like getting to a point where I'm like, can we just have real people do things? Because you can always tell when it's done by AI, and it's not like it makes things any cheaper. We're just ruining the lives of writers, and it's not making anything any cheaper for us. It's just making the corporates more money, but people aren't benefiting in any way.
No. People are not, like, the human race is not benefiting from a lot of what AI is being used for right now, because they are trying to use AI to eliminate positions that humans have held to save money. Corporations are trying to save money and in putting AI where they can. And I mean, we're not
sort of what happened in the industrial age where machinery replaced a lot of people.
Yeah. But you still have, machinery breaks, and AI is only as good. Much like computers have always been, they're only as good as what is being fed into them. So
thank God Stephen has
a lot of misinformation.
Stephen has a recession-proof job and an AI-proof job, thankfully.
Yeah. So my Bridgerton news on my side is we are officially getting press. It's coming because Golda Rochevelle posted a TikTok looking fan-freaking-tastic. And she said, like, I put it in Tangent Queens.
With the hair really tall. Yeah.
Not really tall. It's very close to her face. It's blondish. It's like a copper blonde, but she's in all black, and it's like a dress, like, a collared dress. Oh, just phenomenal. She is a queen. Just look where I say Golda is our, because she is. And she said she's doing Bridgerton press.
I hadn't opened it.
Yeah. So I just want to say shout out to Bridgerton Press finally
Ooh.
getting done. And Golda, you are a queen, and all of your stylists do
Oh,
an
she
amazing job.
looks. Oh, I don't know what new skincare she's doing, but like she
She
is
looks
killing it.
fantastic. Yes, yes, yes. And then my second Bridgerton news, I just want to say to Ella, and I'm afraid I'm gonna mispronounce your last name because it to me I want to say broccoli, but it's broccoli. And I'm pretty sure you've heard that joke as a child, and I'm sorry if it triggers any kind of trauma for you. I'm pretty sure at some point you probably got called Ella Broccoli, but Ella
She's gonna be now.
Broccoli is our lovely Miss Berrigan.
Lovely.
And yes, Miss Berrigan is lovely. She just is
It's
sheltered.
Miss Hardigan. Sorry, it's Miss Hardigan. That's awful. Yeah. Barragan's lovely. Yep.
Yeah. Miss
Sorry.
Berrigan. Yeah. So it was revealed because I watched an Ainsley Broom TikTok and saw that they have the first look of the sisters and the cast for the other Bennett sister. And I'm like, I know that face. I know that face. And I'm so excited that her work on Bridgerton made them see her, if that's the case, or if she got that at the same time, because Regency is rich. It's out there. It's amazing. And because of Bridgerton, we're getting a resurgence of good Regency. Like, I mean, this is a retelling of the story of Mary Bennett. I'm so excited for it. And good job, Ella, our Miss Berrigan, for getting the lead, because if it's the other Bennett sister, that's the lead. Pod snacks.
Pod snacks. Pod
What is this?
snackety snack. And also, when my computer pooped itself into a new eternity, I have temporarily lost our intro and outros. So I'm going to see if Stephen can put back in the hard drive that had them on and whether it will hopefully not poop
Don't worry
itself.
about it.
But
I'll just download something with the outros and I'll send you the sound. I'll edit it.
Well, we can't because it overlaps into the actual episode by 5 seconds every time. Yeah, so the outro is fine because that starts as soon as the episode ends, but the intro is...
Well, let me ask you a question, and you'll probably edit this out, but I found an AI, as we were just lamenting AI. I found an AI where you can kind of tell it what you want. Like if we wanted to come up with something new, we could possibly create something new as an opportunity.
It's for a post-Christmas problem.
Yep. That's for a 2026 Patty and Tosh to come up with.
Yes, I've definitely decided that I have enough on my plate this year. Just getting out all 4 of these episodes before I go away is enough of a struggle bus. I'm not lighting that bus on fire, ripping off the windscreen wipers and saying hallelujah with my eyes shut. Like, no. We're just gonna do the bare minimum.
I have so many things like it's like, can I do this today? Should I do this today? My leg hurts. Nah.
What is your pod snack for the day?
My pod snacks are all heavily discounted items from the 7-Eleven because I had them DoorDashed. And I love 7-Eleven late night for that reason, because stuff will be discounted like 50% off. So I have pure gas station food, little mini tacos, and I got me a soda. We're not sponsored, so I ain't saying who it is. And I just got little treats. I'm not going to eat them all tonight. I'm going to save some for tomorrow and one of them might go in my backpack for the airport. But I have a lemon cake, a bag of chips, and one of those really sugary, horrible cherry pies, like fry pie things. I will not be eating all of it tonight because it is 11:15 my time. But those are the snacks I got, because I have virtually no food in my house because I am going away. So I didn't grocery shop and I'm just eating what I have. And I didn't have anything worthy of pod snacks. And Tosh, being a trooper, did not eat on her snacks until I got mine. So what do you have, Miss Toshi Tosh? You're still muted.
After a brief intermittence, I have resecured my potato chips and I have peas.
Oh, like you're holding up a green thing. It looked like a mini pickle.
Peas, please. It is officially pea season. My pea ma'am, yes, I have a pea ma'am, called me to say that they are the first of the season, were picked yesterday. So my dad went and picked me up. I'd say that's like a 3-kilo bag, which is like, I don't know, pounds and a bit of pea. I'm happy.
You look happy.
Today,
sit here and talk about you.
Today's episode, we are jumping into Cressida and the Queen. So Cressida gets called in to talk with the Queen in regards to her being the Lady Whistledown. I love how the Queen doesn't even entertain it for a second. She's not even
one iota.
She's not even going to, like, I thought that the Queen would at least play the game with her, like, to get some sort of entertainment out of it. Because at the end of the day, the Queen is basically just doing this for entertainment. So I thought that she'd play the game a little. But it's like she has
She's got a mouse and she's a cat. It's that kind of play. That's what she's doing.
But she even says to Cressida that, like, I know Lady Whistledown, like, you are not she.
Right. She knew it wasn't her. She's waiting. She wanted Cressida to throw her own self under the bus. Cressida held her own, and for as much as she is a slow processor, her fear showed on her face. That's what gave her away, though, because she needed the time to really come up with something. But for Cressida, she thought quickly on her feet.
I thought so too. She did hold her own, but you can tell that the Queen holds her in contempt from the second that she walks through that. Like, the Queen, I don't know whether it's Araminta or Cressida or did the Cowpers in general, but you know what it made me realize? Even without the scandal, I don't think for a second that so you know how one of the reasons why Cressida dislikes the Bridgertons so much is that she blames Daphne for losing out marrying Prince Friedrich.
Right.
This scene kind of tells me that even if he had chosen Cressida, the Queen would be like, no.
No, the Queen wouldn't have let it happen.
Because that would be her marrying into the monarchy, not just marrying a duke or a marquess or whatever. This is into the monarchy.
And we know from the conversation that the Queen had with the prince of the gentleman early on, she knows her peerage. Okay.
Yes.
She knows them. So her contempt here is not just that Cressida, who is not Lady Whistledown, is pretending to be Lady Whistledown. She holds actual contempt for the Cowpers, I think. And my perspective of this scene, because Araminta does not walk side by side with her daughter up to the Queen's audience. She's like,
the unspoken words here were, I'm delivering her to you. I'm not with her.
And I think that the way the Queen treats Cressida and the way, like, her face is so sour and Araminta looks like she's just trying to keep her head on her neck.
Do you notice?
I think that Araminta possibly thought that her standing next to Cressida would hurt Cressida. So I think we need a backstory from when they were young to know what happened.
Do you notice
here.
That the Queen does not acknowledge Araminta one little bit?
She gave her a huge cut. Huge.
Yes. So the fact of what Araminta says is the Queen. Okay, so Cressida's first misstep here essentially was admitting to the Queen that she was only coming forward now because she wanted the reward money, when anyone with realistically two brain cells to rub together would know that Lady Whistledown is worth more than £5,000.
Is wealthy,
is wealthy in her own right. And she has no idea how the Queen could potentially punish her for coming out. Because if it's someone else selling her out for £5,000, yes, that's worth it. But if you are Lady Whistledown and she says one of three things, you cannot publish anymore, you're going to lose out a lot more than £5,000, a substantial amount more. Two, you're going to lose your ability to have any sort of outlet. Like, it's not just for Penelope, it's not about the money in the slightest, because she doesn't even use it. I mean, yes, it's good to have a buffer because of the way that her family is, but she's not using that money. So that it's not about the money. It's about her having an outlet and her having something that she has created for herself, something that she is proud of. And three, as we have said in the past, although we see a much kinder Queen in the TV series, she could have quite easily said, off with her head, off with her to Australia, or throw her down in the gallows. It depends very much on the Queen's mood. And just because we haven't seen that from her before doesn't mean I think that she's entirely above it.
No, and that's what the whole fear is. That's why Penelope outed Eloise the way she did, because the Queen threatened Eloise's life in that carriage and the family altogether. Like, it's like they're guilty by association, so I'm taking you all down.
Well, in North Korea, your whole family gets punished for your crimes.
Right. So I don't think this is kind of a filler scene, but if you really look at it for what it is, this is potentially how the conversation with Eloise would have gone if Eloise would have fallen on the sword like she wanted to, right? I do think a lot of these scenes are things that we would have seen had Penelope not interfered. Almost like, and yes, I did watch It's a Wonderful Life last weekend. So kind of like an It's a Wonderful Life situation. If Penelope had not intervened, where would Eloise be? She'd be standing in front of the queen with her mother beside her, not 10 feet behind her. And she would be going through much the same type of interrogation and having to come up with answers that sound plausible and just pissing the queen off because it would have become obvious that she was not Whistledown, right? And so we're seeing what would have happened if Penelope had not protected her friend, but we're also seeing just how crafty you can be when you're in survival mode, because Cressida is in nothing but survival mode. And I'm going to pull out.
And you can see, you can definitely see the few times where she's like, oh crap, I've gotten myself too deep and I don't know how to get myself out.
Yeah, she wished she'd have never said nothing. But I want to talk about her hair here because that fits into that very mindset. Like her hair here is styled, it's a huge flower on her head, almost like a sunflower, where the hair adornments, the little pieces are like the center. Half of the sunflower is like her hair is flattened to make the petals very free, very, just her hair, where the back part of it is woven. Her hair is woven together. And I see that as like she's in a bind. She is bound by her lie, but part of her still believes the free side. Part of her still believes that she is almost free. She feels bound, but she's almost free. Like Whistledown, she still thinks Whistledown is her road to freedom, right? From all these things she's bound by. Only she learns differently because the queen is wearing a dress that flat out has a huge sunflower on the breast of it.
She's like, you think you're a sunflower? Bodice. I know sunflowers. You ain't no sunflower. And that's a metaphor for exactly what the queen says, because the queen slams Cressida saying that Lady Whistledown is an observer. And she's like, basically, oh, my sweet summer child, you have never observed anyone other than yourself. And that was probably one of the deepest cuts that I think the queen has ever made to someone's face, that you are self-absorbed. You do not see anyone past yourself, which is kind of not true, because she could have, I mean, it was too long ago, but like she could have brought up about how she observed Daphne on the forbidden path with, but it was way too long ago. But like, it's not that she doesn't observe, it's just she doesn't observe it unless it pertains to something she can use against someone.
Exactly.
To service herself. Whereas Lady Whistle doesn't observe in a self-serving way, more of science.
Yeah, she's a reporter.
Yeah. But she does really.
Why?
One moment. Sorry, everyone, for the brief, not so brief intermittence. My computer at all. My computer decided that it's still unhappy with me and that I'm a terrible computer mum and has gone on intermittent leave till after Christmas, I would guess.
Yes. So we are half computer, half phone right now. And while we were trying, we have to remember not to talk over each other now that you're on the phone. And I'm not saying that to chastise you. I just noticed that it happened and I said it. But some things like today's just, the recording gods are against us today for whatever reason.
I went to go pick up some air conditioning units to install tomorrow so that I can afford to pay my bills at Christmas time. And so air conditioning units come two parts, right? They come in an internal unit and an external unit, two different boxes. So when it was ordered through the company, the lady's like, sorry, Brian, our aircon guy, is like, okay, we're ordering 2 heat pumps, 4 parts. They were like, 2 heat pumps, two parts, right? So they only had half of my units, and we fly out in a week and it has to come from the North Island. So we had to ring them up and get them to reorder a whole extra one because they did not. So I am already having a day of it. Deepest apologies that the obviously sound quality is not going to be what you're used to yet again. We really appreciate your patience. We are just doing our best to get out our Christmas episodes while we are both away.
We don't want you to have to miss a week. Like, we don't want to miss a week. We're trying really hard to have a pod a week.
It's a Friday evening. It's Thursday, stupid o'clock for you. It's just, oh my Lord.
We're 2 minutes from Friday for me.
We're 2 minutes from stupid for me. I'm about to hit it. So where we left off was basically the Queen with Cressida And the queen essentially admits to Cressida that the only reason that she chooses a diamond is because it's a game with Lady Whistledown. And if she doesn't have a formidable foe like Lady Whistledown, it's not fun. Like, otherwise it's just playing a game with yourself. And like, that's no fun for anyone. She doesn't care about it.
Yeah. She likes playing chess. She likes playing, card games that have, like, she likes games with an opponent. You don't ever see her playing solitaire, people.
No, which is kind of funny. But when the queen was playing chess with Lady Danbury, and Lady Danbury is like, "You don't want the chess game to end too soon, do you?" And she's like, "No, of course not." And then specifically does something to end the game of chess. It's like, you're not as smart as what you think you are sometimes, Miss Charlotte.
Well, the thing is that Lady Danbury was purposely making poor moves so the game lasted long.
Yes.
Charlotte didn't get that it was basically a metaphor / allegory for life.
Yeah.
At that moment. It took her, I think, until Penelope was standing in front of her, begging to still be able to write. And she looked over at Lady Danbury. I think that's when she figured it out.
So the queen issues the challenge to Cressida that she must release the next article that was missed this morning in order for her to prove that she is Lady Whistledown. And this is one of the very few times where I will admit she did think quick on her feet of, oh, you in on us kind of spooked my publishers, and they're a bit more reserved about publishing my name now because they know that you're after them, sort of thing. So I do give her credit that she was quite quick on her feet, even though you could literally see on her face she is not a good poker player. You could see on her is formulating this idea as she says it.
Oh, for sure. Like, she was like open mouth, like fear. And then she caught herself.
The thought bubble above her head.
You could see the light bulb slowly turn on.
So this is where Cressida and Araminta kind of retreat to the hallway. Araminta has zero chill whatsoever because she starts berating Cressida in this hallway with Brimsley right behind them, as if Brimsley's not literally the queen's right-hand man and a huge gossip. Like, Araminta, who tries to pride herself on being so much smarter than her daughter, is literally just admitting right in front of Brimsley that she is not Lady Whistledown. Like,
she's
what?
Throwing, because here her motivation is not to pretend she's Whistledown. It's to get her to stop the charade because it's only hurting everyone. Like, she doesn't see the kind of position that they put Cressida in. And I'll tell you what, she, at the bottom of the stairs, she proves herself to be the worst mother in the ton.
Yes.
Go on. I mean, I don't know if you want to go through what she says going down the stairs or not, get to the bottom.
Well, I mean, there is a lot, but Araminta basically throws in Cressida's face that if she cements her name as Lady Whistledown by posting as her, no one will marry her. And this is kind of when Cressida throws back, well, no one was going to marry me now. And I sort of get the vibe that Cressida blames Araminta for that, for raising her to be the way that she is. And there comes an age in every girl's life where they kind of start seeing their mothers as real people and not just their mothers, and kind of realizing the flaws in them. And it's not always a bad thing. I think for a lot of children, it's great to take your parents off pedestals and see them as real people, because that's kind of when you can start becoming friends, unless you're Araminta Cowper, in which case you start realizing your mom's an awful person.
Well, that's the thing. I think this is the moment. Now, we see other moments of this later, but this is the moment where Cressida realized her mother's not in her corner. Yes. From the moment she made her present herself to the queen, Cressida became her own person. She was no longer her parents' child. She was a grown-up. She grew up in this moment. Yeah. And she now looks down on her mother and how they've been treating her and what they've been doing. But the thing that bothers me the most about Araminta Cowper and what kind of a mother she is that she literally thinks the worst thing that could happen to Cressida, being outed as Whistledown and actually publishing, is that she won't be able to get married. We just watched Penelope completely out her best friend in Whistledown to save her life. She believed her friend's life was in danger. Araminta does not understand the import of this moment and what the queen could do.
And just for fact's sake, because you know how we've been talking about how Lord Cowper is so much older than Lady Cowper, right? Actually not. So I looked it up last night out of curiosity's sake, because what else does one do at 1 a.m. when they're supposed to be sleeping. Lord Cowper's actor is played by Dominic Coleman, who is only 55, and Lady Cowper is Joanna Bobbin, who is 52. So they're actually quite close in age, especially compared to the fact that we thought there was like a 20-year age gap. Like, obviously,
They don't look like it.
Joanna's doing that skincare. She's doing the thing. Because in this scene where they kind of zoomed in on her face on the staircase, and I could kind of see a lot more of the lines around her eyes that kind of, she looks fantastic for her age. But, you know, when you zoom in and you can just kind of see, hey, actually, the signs are there. They're just very subtle because she is beautiful.
Well, and she's probably that mom, and I can't remember which rom-com it is, but I know it's like a 90s rom-com movie, romance movie, where, you know, it's like, oh, you can't smile because it causes wrinkles. Don't, you know, and I think that's Cressida Cowper. Like, she does everything she possibly can to not show any kind of emotion. And it probably is because she'll lose her beauty.
Yeah.
Because they focus so much on Cressida's beauty that she's probably trying to hold on to as much of hers as she can, much to the chagrin of her heart. Like, if she has any kind of a heart as a mother, because she does show moments of concern that, and I think that's moments of guilt, which she should feel some mom guilt. And yes, I understand she's just a character. And I will say, actress, you did a great job of making me not like Cressida Cowper's mom.
Can you pause for 1 second, please?
Sure one.
Okay, we are officially moving on now, 3 hours later. This part took long. It was just that we've had so many intermittences and so many released. It's taken us an entire 2 hours just to get through that one portion. Okay, we are moving on to Francesca, Violet, and John.
Yes, and again, this is another across the table kind of triangle, much like Colin and the Bros, where it's 2 against 1. And I feel really
a lot of managing going on in the scene.
Oh, this isn't managing. This is straight up railroading, because Francesca wants to be an adult. She wants to be a wife, yet she's like, Mommy, can you please ask the queen for me to get married? Like, what?
I mean, there's certainly some looks in this episode, like in this scene, that I'm like, oh, is that Harriet? So Violet is discussing who will host the wedding breakfast when Francesca cuts her off to discuss who is going to tell the queen. But before that point, you kind of get to see an insight into John's upbringing, because obviously we know from the books that John's mum is an incredible introvert. And we know from Violet, sorry, I'm decompressing in bed. I'm also stressed. I'm like trying to compose myself to like get my head back in the game. We know from Violet that from the episode where Francesca asks her walking down, I think it's episode 3, before they bump into John in the street, where she asks about John's family, and the mother's like, oh, you know, they're incredibly introverted. They don't go out. They don't socialize, whatever. So we do know tidbits, but I do definitely feel like we are being built up to. And there are already spoilers on the internet. Now, I'm not going to go into everything the spoilers are, because obviously these are spoilers. These have not been verified, except for the pictures, obviously, which I don't know why.
Bridgerton news. We didn't even talk about the 2 fingers. What were we thinking?
Well, I mean, AI is so out of control now that
Yeah.
I don't put anything until I see it with my own eyes anymore.
True
you know?
that.
So there are spoilers out there. If you do want spoilers about season 4, head over to Reddit. I'm sure if you just type in season 4 spoilers for Bridgerton, it will pop up.
Instagram, they're on Instagram, yeah.
They're on Instagram, so we will mention them, but like we're not going to talk about them per se, because yeah, unless it's verified, I'm not putting out information into the world unless we know it's actually real. But from what the spoilers say is that there is a lot of Francesca and John content next season, and Michaela, obviously. Patty and I have big feels about that, because it basically isn't going to go the way that we want it to, and we feel some sort of way about it. So we're not even going to acknowledge it, so that we can live in the. They're going to respect the love between John and Francesca.
Why introduce us to this gem of a man? Say what you said again.
He's such a sweetheart, and it's such a slap in the face to him.
Yes.
So I actually love that. Like at the start, Violet is being supportive. I'd love to host the wedding breakfast. Oh, but I don't want to step on your mum's feet. Like, she is a people pleaser. Violet's definitely a people pleaser. She's like, oh, like I know that if I had a son, one only child, like I would desperately want to do it. So like, here's the option if she so wants it. like, I love that she's trying to be thoughtful of John's mum as well, even though as the mother of the bride, that is typically her role. But she is acknowledging that John is her only child. So she's like, if she would like to, like, I support that too, which is, I think, is really sweet.
Yeah.
So I really liked that kind of Violet is putting in the effort in this part. And I kind of feel like this next scene and how Francesca plays it is what sets the scene for Violet's doubts to kind of kick in. So this is when Francesca, cuts off Violet, who's like trying to plan out this wedding breakfast, to ask like who will kind of bring up who is going to tell the Queen of their engagement. And John, I at least appreciate the fact that he is humble enough to kind of acknowledge that he knows he was not the Queen's first choice and that she isn't going to kind of be happy about it per se. As this whole scene with Francesca really annoys me because she just seems bratty in it. Like, I'm an entitled child and my mum will do whatever I tell her to because I asked for a Volkswagen for my birthday and I will get a Volkswagen. And if she gets it in pink when I ask for it in purple, she will buy me a whole new one. Like, it just kind of those vibes.
I have a different perspective too. But no, I see that. And that's why I said she's railroading her mother. And I think it's pretty nasty business because then later at the Wallflower Ball, she calls her mother out for not being supportive when she's forcing her mother to do things that she shouldn't even be responsible for. Like, she's putting the responsibility of her marriage onto her mother's shoulders when she doesn't need to, because John should be going to the Queen.
Well, to be fair, it should have been John and Francesca supported by Violet. Like, if she said, Mum, I know I need to go and do this, but I am scared. Can you just be there, just to stand by me, to support me, to show the Queen that I have your support? But I know that this is the Queen chose me. I know
and the thing is, with what Violet suggests about waiting until the off season, if they would have waited until the off season and done the bands properly, they wouldn't have needed to go before the Queen at all. The point is Francesca wanted to speed up the wedding, not because they'd done anything or been intimate or anything, but you have to appear like you have been usually to get a special license to speed up the wedding.
They don't even seem like they're doing it to speed up the wedding because they're so lustful with each other, unlike all the other Bridgerton siblings. It's literally just because she wants to get away from her family.
Yes, and that was my perspective, is what we know of Francesca throughout these seasons is that she cannot stay at Bridgerton House long or Aubrey Hall long. And I think that is her trauma from her father's death, is she doesn't want to be in the spaces that remind her of him. But I also think, like she said, like, she can't hear herself think in that house. So she's always run to what we've determined to be Aunt Winnie, the musical one, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here she is doing the same thing. She's got to get out. She's already been in this house way too long. If we look at the timeline of where we are, she has been home for this season probably like 2 months. We've never seen her stay this long in Bridgerton House in the time we've known her as viewers. So I'm wondering if something happened in Bath for why she can't go back there and why she came back and said, this is my season.
Well, I mean, I wonder whether Aunt Winnie, she was going back there because maybe she was getting too close to a friend, like to someone there, and Aunt Winnie sent her back home. I don't really know. You can only really speculate. And I think it will come out as she gets with Michaela. Oh, I had a friendship that was blooming, rah.
Well, like, and in the spoilers, I know we're not talking too many spoilers, but it does say like she is concerned regarding her emotional connection with Michaela. So I'm wondering if she ran from something in Bath.
Yes.
And now she's trying to rush a marriage that looks like everyone else is in the ton to prove herself wrong. Because if we remember from JB, because we're not saying her name, if we remember from JB talking about her and how she related to her, she said that that Francesca is similar. She related to her because it was like her own realizing who she was, right? Like she felt out of place. She felt like she didn't belong. And then she came into her own and came out, and, you know, that helped. And so she related to Francesca because of how Francesca felt within her family. So I'm wondering if this rush into a marriage, because that's what it feels like. She's rushing to get married, but not because they've already been intimate. Like if Colin and Penn were at that table having that conversation, we'd get the
siblings.
Yeah. I mean, look at the conversation that Violet had with Daphne in the first season. It's normal for young betrothed to kind of not follow the timeline, right? Any other Bridgerton sibling, especially Colin and Penn, it would be a different conversation for why they want to rush the wedding. But it's not the case with Francesca and John. And you can tell by the way he looks at her in this thing that she's trying to give that impression, I think.
Well, I mean, because like,
and Violet isn't buying it.
No, like Violet was sort of like questioning like who, you know, so Violet talks about, yes, we should wait to the end of the season. And John gives Francesca a look like, okay, you need to tell her what we have discussed. And I didn't really love that look from him. Like instead of telling Violet himself that he would like her to speak to the Queen, he gives Francesca the look to like, oh, now's your time to speak up.
See, I interpret that look differently because of what we know about John's personality now. I mean, think back to the I've come down with the plague and you guys will all die by association. I think they've discussed it. Like she said, we've discussed this. And I think she told him she could get her mom on board. And he's like, yeah, I don't think so. And they have a bet going. That's kind of the look how I took it as. Like, he's like, you tell her, I'm not.
You can tell how flustered Violet is, because as much as she's confident in the ton and in her place in society, the Queen is a completely different ball game. It's like going to the principal with something like, you just like, I mean, as a teacher, like, always kind of a little bit nerve-wracking. You never quite know how it's going to go. You're playing politics. It's and she is a queen. It's not like she can just fire you. She can literally fire you from your head. Like,
nice. But no, that's the thing. Like, Francesca doesn't know. She's being very naive here, one. Two, she's being very irresponsible, and she is acting like a child instead of a grown-up woman who wants to get married. Three, I think in this moment, she's not only trying to manage Violet, she's also managing John, which is a bit manipulative and selfish. By the way, if anybody hasn't figured it out, Francesca is really my least favorite Bridgerton sibling in the show. I think show Francesca and look, Hannah Dodd, I love you as an actress. I think you're amazing and you did a great job with Francesca. And I think you did play her specifically selfishly. Like, I think that was a choice. And I stan it. Like, there's got to be one of these Bridgertons has to be there. We can't like all of them. And this is the one I don't like.
Book Francesca was also really selfish. And I kind of always took issue with kind of this animosity that she has with her family, because it's not like they've done anything for her to show animosity to. And I think she even acknowledges that as well. And just like, well, they annoy me, so I'll just go do my own thing because I don't want to be annoyed with them. And I know that I shouldn't be annoyed with them, but I am. So like, it is autism. And it's not to say that we don't like people with autism, because that would be hypocritical.
Hypocritical, right? I don't like myself. Like,
no, just to say you can't just avoid everything in life that makes you uncomfortable. I just don't always love Francesca's approach to things. And this is one of the times where, like, and I get it, she is still a kid in my mind. She's still a kid. And Francesca kind of looks heartbroken in this moment that her mum is unenthusiastic about her match. And it's got nothing to do with that, but you can tell that's kind of how she is interpreting it, that she will bat for all of her kids' loves, but not John. And it's like, well, no, did you see? No. Did you see the way that she reacted to Edwina? It was like, okay, yeah, lackluster.
Well, not even that. I think Francesca is creating drama where it's not there. Like, Violet is not anti-John. I don't care
who can ruin her life.
I mean, first of all, if you have two children that and yes, they're rich, but they want to have separate weddings. If you have two children, and if you think back, I mean, honestly, we've seen one marriage, and that was in a movie. In the book, it didn't necessarily happen like that. They didn't get married on the same day that I can remember. In Pride and Prejudice, I'd have to reread it. Oh darn, I'd have to reread it to see if it's like that from the movie. Because in the movie, the 1995 one, they marry on the same day, right?
Mhm.
So sometimes that happens when you get betrothed close together. But Colin and Penelope's wedding would have been Francesca and John's version of hell. They want their own wedding. So it's horribly ungrateful, horribly selfish, and horribly rude of her in the etiquette of the time to want
Yeah.
a completely separate wedding, but to insist on it being sped up. Because honestly, if they would have waited out Colin and Penn's wedding and done it in a timely manner of, oh, another sibling needs to get married, there is no reason they cannot get married. The queen is not, when the queen wanted Daphne to marry the prince and her engagement was announced to Simon, what did the queen do? Sent the prince to her house.
Mhm.
Right. And then in season 2, when she found out that the wedding probably was off because of what happened, she called in Danbury and Mary and Violet. Like, have they been summoned to the palace yet? No. Has Samadani shown back up to the house? No. The queen don't give a crap about you, Francesca.
No. Didn't you hear? Samadani got roped into the Northwest Passage with Debling, and they went off together.
No, I seriously, I think I want us to talk out like all of the missing characters. There's a scene somewhere where they all just show up. Because you know how because this is like 1800s version of Survivor, right? Like you've been voted off the island or whatever. So there's got to be a reunion at some point. We have to have a reunion show. And they all show up.
We could do who do you think would win the Survivor Bridgerton edition?
Yeah, the all-stars of all the people that got rejected.
Oh, that would be really funny, actually.
Like the year they did Survivor, the losers, right? Like the person who was like the next to last person. That would be so funny.
I think that Francesca is just being incredibly naive here, the position that she's putting her mum in. And her mum, who is not someone who ever speaks directly, isn't going to be like, actually, no, this. And I do wish, I very, very much wish that Violet would actually just stand tall for once with her children and say, hey, you need to take responsibility for your own actions. I have done a lot for you in life. This is one thing that you need to do for yourself. The queen put her faith and energy and time into you, and you need to respect that by going and apologizing to her yourself, as Daphne did in the first season, as Anthony did not do in the second season, though probably should have.
Edwina did.
Yes, but it really should have come from the Violet account, because Edwina had she was not a lord or lady. It was like Anthony was one of her peerage, not Edwina. So he in the one to apologize. But again, that's on Violet. She should have said to her son, if he was raised correctly, you caused this, you fix it. And Francesca the same. And I think that this is actually a very, very common issue with entitled children who come from a lot of wealth, is expecting everyone to fix their problems for them and failing to take accountability for their actions. Same thing with Eloise. I mean, we've done enough shitting on Eloise in the last episode. So
right. It's Francesca's turn.
It's Francesca's turn. One Bridgerton sibling per episode, people.
Well, and here's my thought. Like, we see so many dynamics where there's a narcissistic or very self-centered parent and the child of that parent. And here we have the opposite dynamic. And the reason being is because Francesca is like, get me the hell out of Dodge. I'm going to go to Bath for a while. Oh, I'm going to go to Bath. Oh, by the way, I'm out. I'm going to Bath. That her mother wants her to stay and hang out. She wants to hang out and spend time with her daughter. So she does give in to her a lot because she thinks it'll make her stay, and it doesn't. And now here we are. Like, it's a different kind of indulgence, that it's kind of like if you ask every sibling, like, where Benedict asks Eloise, who's your favorite sibling? And she's like, Gregory, clearly. And he's like, okay, because what about us, right? I think that if you asked every sibling, do I think they would all say the same person? Yes, I do. I think brother-wise, they'd all say Colin. He's the true baby. Even though Gregory is the baby, I think Colin was her baby. She thought he was going to be last, and then she got overwhelmed with every other kid after that. Francesca is the golden child daughter because she doesn't get to see her that much, so she indulges her when she's home.
Patty, you know how we did the book edition? Imagine if we did it from the Bridgerton perspective of which sibling would they each vote, or like Violet's favorite child, most likely to have set the backyard on fire, most likely to have gone through the most governesses, like that kind of thing.
Oh, Eloise had the most governesses.
Yes.
I don't even have to question that.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just using as an example. That would be really funny. But Violet...
Francesca is the most indulged child, even over the baby, because she's hardly ever home.
And you can tell that because you can tell in the scene that Violet is pulling a Penelope and she looks ready to have a panic attack. Like, you can tell how flustered she is in this point. Like, she is actually like really affected by the thought of having to go to the Queen.
Yeah, like she's like, it's kind of like a parent whose child, they live in an apartment building in New York City and the kid asked for a horse for Christmas. She's like, I want to do this for you, but I just don't think I can.
Two Broke Girls styles where they've got Chestnut at the kitchen window. Have you ever seen Two Broke?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, Two Broke Girls, she came from an incredibly rich family. And then
I know that part. Like, I think I saw the first episode, but I didn't watch past.
Her horse, they live in an apartment and maybe on the top floor or something. And she literally puts her horse Chestnut out onto this like patio kind of a situation, and its head's always like through the kitchen window. Okay, so
you're telling me I need to come up with a more impossible scenario?
Yeah. Okay. Let's move. Talking of impossible scenarios. Penelope's trying to muse out how to keep her husband and her article running at the same time. Let's talk Portia and Penelope.
Penelope is trying to sort out her whole entire life before exiting her bedroom. She has now been in her bedroom. Like, I know, like the last couple episodes, the last episode of the engagement party, we were like, you know, Kate's been pregnant a while now, but no, it's been the same episode. Like this whole, I don't know. I know they don't necessarily film in order, but if they filmed in order, like Nicola Coughlan lived in a bedroom for an entire episode.
Yes. So Portia is, before we get to that part, Portia is planning the wedding breakfast with Varley, going through like the different colors. Yeah. And the surprise of the century, like she actually, I mean, granted Penelope's not in the room, but this is the first time I've ever seen Portia being animated and excited for something for Penelope, and doesn't sound like she's making it about herself.
And she's not the only one.
Well, I mean, the girls are definitely trying to make it all about themselves.
No. I'm saying excited for Penelope. Like, up until Philippa says something negative, Finch is beaming. He is so excited for his sister-in-law's wedding. Like, he's just beaming over at Portia like, it's about time you're being a mom to that girl.
Well, I think it's so cute that the brothers are doting over their white corner, as they know that they're clearly sulking over the fact that Penelope is getting all of their mother's attention in a way that they feel like they've never had. And it's like, sorry, Prudence, but you've had your mother's attention your whole entire life. What you're actually feeling is jealousy over the fact that Penelope is getting financial treatment that you've never had. And I know that Portia phrases it in a really kind of cruel way, but at the end of the day, it is true. The budget that they have to do Penelope's wedding is a completely different budget they had for the Finch Works, because I'm sure that the budget kind of plays a little bit into like the dowry kind of situation where like you can afford to spend that kind of money because you know you're going to get it back in influence, if that makes sense.
Yes, but she also gaslit her children because she's using the fraud money, and she has to make it sound like she's using Bridgerton money, but she's not, because she can't. They're not married.
Yes.
And she should be giving a dowry, not getting any money from the Bridgerton. So she's completely gaslit her two children that she did nothing for because she cannot admit she defrauded the ton.
Well, that's a good point. Although I do think that if Portia went to Colin and said, "Can I please have some money for a wedding breakfast? I want it to be the one of Penelope's dreams," but please don't tell her that I've asked you for the money. But like, she's never had anything special like this for herself. Like, Portia could 100% manipulate Colin into giving her the money and never telling
Oh, yeah.
Penelope.
Yeah, like Colin would have gone to Benedict and said, I need $20,000, 20,000 pounds, and you're going to sign for it. And this is why. Like,
But-
he's so concerned about signing for the 20,000 about the whole Whistledown thing for Cressida.
Mhm.
But if it was for Penelope, like 4-2, he wouldn't even question it. And he really doesn't question the other. He just mentions Benedict, which changes the how Penelope, right? I think if he would have never mentioned Benedict and he would have never told Penelope that he was going to create a lie, something Colin does not do, right?
Mhm.
Penelope might not have outed herself as Whistledown because she would have had no incentive to, really. But she didn't want Colin lying to his family.
Now, let's talk about one of the reasons why I think that Bessie Carter is an amazing actress. And I love the acting choices that she makes because I don't know why. This is one of my favorite lines. And it's not even like a line or anything. It's just the way that she delivers it.
She delivers it. I love Phil, and I can't think of her name. Where'd it go? It's After Midnight for me. Philippa.
It's right.
I know it. I just say it all the time.
Mhm.
So mad, actually, and I'm gonna apologize, Philip.
Jessie? No. Just no.
Jessica Madsen is Cressida.
Right there in my eyeballs, but
Keynes, Harriet Keynes. It finally came to my brain. I didn't quite get there yet. So Harriet Keynes, I'm sorry for forgetting. I'm also in perimenopause. That's just all. But Harriet Keynes, I love her whole thing with Finch here. She's like, what are we going to do? Get to the wedding in a cart.
But it's the specific line. I don't know why Penelope is getting such treatment. Like
there's a TikToker, not Bridgerton related. He does corporate stuff, things about the corporate world.
Mhm.
And one of his corporate characters is a petulant child that ends everything with
Mhm.
And that's what it reminds me of.
Moira from Schitt's Creek.
Who?
Moira? Schitt's Creek? Hello, David.
Yeah, but she doesn't do the his sister does.
Yes.
Yeah. Like,
it
what
was
do you
just
mean, David?
David.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I
I
see
don't
that.
know. I loved the way that she said it. Her whole like petulant child act in this, like the two sisters, absolutely phenomenal acting because
And I feel like she said that very line like at 5 or 6 years old when Penelope was like a baby nursing, right? Like here's Prudence, little Prudence going, I don't know why Penelope gets such treatment. And it makes sense as a kid, but like now she's an adult. But I could see her even be like, why do you have to hold Penelope? Why is she crying? Why do you have to cuddle her? I don't understand why she gets such treatment. And that's how Penelope started getting neglect.
Mind how Portia talks to her daughters so much because they give it back in spades. I mean, granted, she would have talked to them that way before they gave it back in spades, but like who I really feel sorry for in this scene is the brothers because she literally just told the girls why they're not getting the special treatment. And it's because she is essentially calling them poor. Like this poor boy. I know that they're not really egotistical, but I'm sure like at least
they can't be in a room with Portia.
I mean, at least to some degree, I'm sure they take it as some sort of cut.
Yeah. I mean, Kelso pretty much jumped up from behind that settee and went, burn!
Mm-hmm.
She burns them so bad all the time. And I just love how Finch just puts his hands on Philippa's shoulders. He's like, I'll carry you to the church, whatever. And my favorite thing in the whole scene is her going, ow, like, you're so sweet kind of thing. Like that noise she makes, like they're totally couple goals, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like she acknowledges what he said is sweet, but she'd rather have the guilt carrot.
Yeah. Good try. And it's quite funny that it's only now that like Portia is defending Penelope to her sisters that she realizes, oh, I'm doing all this getting Penelope's good graces and Penelope's not even in the room. I'm kind of wasting my niceness. Let's go find where she is. Like
right.
I have a daily quota of nice that I can be and I'm wasting it because she's not even here to see it.
Right. Like she's like, oh my gosh, my good mother is showing and for whose benefit?
Mm-hmm. So Portia finds Penelope in her room reading over old Whistledown articles and can tell that Penelope is not unwell, but instead upset. And oh my Lord, Portia being astute with feeling. She really has turned a new leaf because what a new page, a new leaf. She's turning over people in their graves, okay? Because what is that? Is Portia being aware of feelings? Unheard of.
Well, and I don't know if Portia like says things out loud and just doesn't realize like your daughter obviously is isolating. She's been isolating for a long time. How about since pretty much her engagement? And the first thing you say is, "Oh, you're reading old Down. Put two and two together, woman."
And I do sort of wonder whether it's just one of those moments like with Eloise and Colin where she needs an icebreaker to bring up what she's truly gone in there to discuss.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think that Portia is well aware that her daughter isn't actually unwell, but instead is feeling some sort of way about getting married. Maybe not necessarily that it's Colin, because otherwise I think if she thought for a second that she was regretting choosing Colin, that she would give Penelope the out or try to come up with some sort of scheme of it's not too late to get Debling back. I'm sure if we work together, we can convince him to still, but she doesn't go that route. So I think
in that moment, if she'd have thought Penelope was Whistledown and with what she knows about herself and the fraud, she would have invented the call Deb.
So this is when Portia kind of says one of the most genuine compliments that I think I've ever heard her say about Colin. And it's not necessarily about Colin, but it is a compliment because she's basically saying, you have caught yourself a fantastic man. He is a man of great wealth and name without 1 ounce of sarcasm. This is the first time that I've ever heard her acknowledge that the Bridgertons, and specifically Colin, are a good family to marry into. Because I think Portia has been so riddled with blame and animosity towards them that she fails to acknowledge their standing in society. But I think now that it is going to benefit her daughter, she's actually thought it through and thought, actually, like, I've been rooting this for my daughter, but they are actually an incredibly good match. I'm remembering back to season 1 when I thought it was such a good match for Marina, because then I'd had ties to this fantastic family. Not fantastic because she likes them, but fantastic because of the wealth and influence.
Yes, and maybe this is my ADHD brain, like we tend to see the negative in some things about ourselves. But I see this negatively too, because it reminds me of when Debling was visiting and she goes, I have to take up the mantle for Colin Bridgerton. I have to coach her through this, right? So I think she's kind of still doing that. Like she realizes that Penelope is crushing on this boy, right? Penelope wants this boy. And yes, their influence can help her. So she's telling Penelope what she needs to like, hey, you need to step up, get out of this room and go make your man feel like a god because you don't want to lose him before the wedding happens. Like that's kind of the vibe it gave me until when she started really talking about her own life and Archibald, and that felt genuine to me.
That's exactly what happened to my notes as well. That like Portia starts out on this whole almost lecture of a woman's duty. A woman's duty is to make Colin feel like the most important man in the world and to cater to everything that they want. And then the way that she says, at least in the beginning, and you could tell that there was a lot of sadness laced in those words, as in you just have to survive in the beginning until you have children, and then your real life begins. And that's kind of how I viewed the way that this kind of whole conversation went. Was she starts out and you could tell she's sad about having to teach her daughters this because this is the reality that she has known and she doesn't believe it to be any different. And I mean, she knows that Penelope and Colin are a love match. So I'm kind of surprised that she is leaning this way instead of actually just asking Penelope, like, what is going on between you two? That like that there is something up. I've seen the way that he looks at you. I've seen the way that you look at him. What more is like, what's the problem?
Well, like I said, I think that Portia processed a lot of her own relationship trauma during this time watching Colin love her daughter. And I think that we've speculated about the possibility that she chose a secure match over a love match in her own day. And the way she said that about how you make them feel like the most important person in the room and all that stuff, at least in the beginning, and how wistful and sad she sounded, I kind of think, and this just dawned on me, so roll with me here, I think Archibald was her love match. I think she thought he hung the moon and they got married quickly. because of similar thing. And the bloom came off the rose. And I think that happens a lot, especially in those times. I mean, think about season one. Like I
Married for security only.
she didn't say she married for security. She said, you know what is romantic? A secure match. Do you know why? Hers wasn't secure.
No, she said, your father can be cruel. Sorry, your father could be cruel. A weak man. I chose a match for security, and he could not even provide me that, but he gave me you girls. And my greatest wish has always been for you three to do better than I did. And you are so lucky, Penelope. You do not take that for granted. I think she thinks that Penelope is like taking for granted what she has with Colin.
That he's going to love her no matter what, and she doesn't have to do anything to secure it.
Yeah.
But I think that line, though, about, at least in the beginning, was her revealing that the Archibald she married, that she met and agreed to marry, is not the same one she became married to.
I definitely think that he fed her a false narrative in the beginning. I very much think that that Archibald was a Fife character and that he was all charm. And then the second that he was friends was where the true nature came out. So I very much see him as a Fife or, any of those boys.
And we haven't quite seen it yet. And I talked about how I thought Debling might be the character that it was, where you have that person that's out and about, like, think season one, think the guy that owes all the money to the club, right? He's out there pretending to be rich, but he's deeply in debt. And and we see that a lot in fiction from the time, because it happened quite often. I mean, like in Downton Abbey, and granted that's later, but that's still someone from the peerage, someone from the ton, basically married an American heiress for her money. They ended up falling in love after they were married. But that happened often. People went out and saved. I mean, Sense and Sensibility, Willoughby thought he was going to lose his inheritance, so he married somebody who was worth £50,000, right?
Yes.
So there are people that go out there that pretend to be rich and aren't, because they think they're going to marry another family that has money in it. And I think
Lord Ambrose, by the way.
Ambrose. Okay, thank you. So I think that she thought she was marrying for security and found out it wasn't secure, and then found out that everything she thought was a lie, which if we look at Portia as a human being and imagine her at Penelope's age, and this is the experience she's having at that age, it really kind of does explain 40, 50-year-old Portia. She can't trust anybody, right? So I think that line really fed me, like, it says a lot in a short little line of what young Portia experienced in her own betrothal and her first few years of marriage. Or, I mean, for all we know, she entrapped Archibald, and it was only the first 7 months.
Because
8 months, maybe.
The line, and I do want to go back to it, because Portia looks at Penelope, when she's giving the, you must please your husband, do whatever they want, make them feel with it like the big man. And Penelope says, what about my dreams? And granted, Portia says this, and we have to acknowledge that she is saying this without any knowledge of Lady Whistledown. But Portia looks around and said, and like, I think women across the world like really felt this moment, because she says,
yes.
What dreams? Ladies do not have dreams. They have husbands. And sometimes if you are lucky and you fulfill your role, what you wish for may come true through him, which for starters gave me mad Lady Danbury vibes. And secondly, this is a really hard-hitting kind of line for where the world is currently at and progressions that we are making. Once again, we said we are not a political-based podcast, but we feel very much like we are kind of regressing back to this narrative.
Yeah, but Bridgerton in and of itself highlights, using 1800s, but highlights things we are going through. And I mean, this has been the plight of women forever. It still is. It is still, I mean, think of all of the conversations you hear of women who are exiting marriages, who work while their husband was in school. And then when he started working, they stopped working so that he could grow his career, or they supported their man in their career. And if you look at the wives of the 50s and 60s, they hosted dinner parties to help their husband network. They were amenable and jovial, and the perfect hostess. And that's no different than the women of the ton hosting these balls to give their husband more prestige.
Yes. And you know what?
I mean,
Gilmore Girls, Emily makes that exact point. She's like, Richard, yes, you have built this fortune, and I'm not taking that away from you. But I hosted all of these events and parties in which you made these connections, you solidified these bonds with these people that then meant that they invested in you because they were like, hey, I like you, I like your wife, I like going to, brunches with our wives on the weekend. I like going golfing with you, on a Sunday. Like those are the things that create bonds between business partners. It is not necessarily just what's on paper. And I think that is very much the role of women and that's very much what Jo March was saying that I cannot be that for you. I cannot, right. Jo, the women, she was saying, I cannot be this perfect woman who is going to help solidify these connections. I'm not going to be a perfect housewife who hosts parties.
I'm not hosting a party. Yeah.
Not hosting a party. Like, I'll slap some bread on a table. Here's your butter. Serve yourself. I'm going outside. Like that would be her. So like, I mean, very, very big tangent to kind of just state how much this line kind of hits. And I do acknowledge that I am a stay-at-home mom. I had a career. I did not leave that career because of my husband or son. I left that career because honestly, teaching sucks out your entire soul. You love these children, but the paperwork and the hours are just unbearable. Again, politics. It's all the politics, all the paperwork that we.
Well, no, and my own personal experience, like from a different perspective, right? You left your career because you wanted to, and this is, you want to take all of that talent and education in education, being a teacher of young kids for your own young kid, for your own child.
But it is always your own choice. I mean,
yes.
Like granted, and I discussed this together, but it has always been my choice to stay at home. And he has never, ever once been like, oh no, like you have to be at home. You have to be raising our child. You are not a good woman or wife if you are not at home. Like he's like, we'll work together, we'll support each other, we'll figure it out,
Yeah. And from my side of it, what I felt in this scene, especially that line of in the beginning, is I was the girlfriend / wife who was doing all the work. And I got my annual Social Security statement. Like we get a statement every year and it shows you your income for every year for like the last 20 years or so. And I can see the ebb and flow of my financial abundance and my lack, right? And I look at it and it's a history for me because I can look at those years and I can remember and I can be proud of myself because like 2019 sucked butternuts, dude. That's the year my mom died. I lost my job 6 weeks later and I moved back to Ohio, completely new state move for a job that it turns out I didn't have, right? And I scrambled. But I had a man who didn't work, who watched me work 4 or 5 jobs. Like I called myself hustle mom. I was doing whatever I could to make money. And he just sat there and watched me. And in fact, put me down for not being able to function in the home that he literally was in 24/7. But when we were around his people, I had to pretend that he was an entrepreneur, small business owner. I had to pretend to help him save face, that I wasn't exhausted and that I had 5 minutes for these people to be able to praise him for starting a business or having this business that didn't exist. When I brought him actual work for this business and I bought him business cards, he got angry with. So this scene hits for every woman in every situation because of what we experience. And this may not be your experience with your current husband. Your current husband is a gem. I've said it 9 million times.
Can we just rephrase that one? My only husband.
Well, and I'm thinking relationship. He's your husband now, but I'm thinking because you've had other relationships, right? So not that she's had other husbands, just relationships. But you've had past relationships where you feel like you completely understand my experience, right? Like every woman has had that, maybe not to and I know other women have had exactly my experience. I've been on social media enough to know that I have sisters in arms out there. but women in general, we have women in our history that actually invented something, created something, that their name gets erased and some man gets to have credit for it in history. And we're just now learning about these women that actually invented it or created or contributed. Like, we no longer call Asperger's because we found out that a woman actually started these studies, right? So things like that. That's just an example. But Portia is every woman in this scene. Like, every woman has had this experience, not to the extreme of Portia, not to the extreme of me, but everybody has had a moment where their contributions to a life in the patriarchy are downplayed or overlooked. And that's like the basic thread of womanhood in the patriarchy.
And you can tell that Penelope is becoming very disenchanted with not marriage. Like, I think she's kind of coming to terms with, she had seen the way that her parents had interacted. She knew that there was no love there, but I don't think she ever actually acknowledged the abuse, whether that be physically, emotionally, financially. Like, he was abusive in a lot of different ways. And I don't think she like is bad because she's like, oh, well, I love my dad. I don't think she felt two ways about her dad, to be honest. But I think
we never saw him acknowledge any of his daughters.
No. So I don't think it's that. I think it's more on the lines of realizing why her mum is as tough as she is. And this is what I was talking about with Francesca, and that is Cressida, is when you get to the age where you start seeing your parents as people and realizing they've been through in life to make them the way that they are, whether for good or bad. And I think that this is a real moment of empathy for Penelope to realize what her mother has been through. And Portia, you could see even, she can see that Penelope's not happy with this response for whatever reason. And that is when she got more candid with her daughter and saying, you know, your father could be a cruel man, and I chose him for security, and he could not even provide me that, but he gave me you, girl. And I feel like this is kind of the same conversation that we see Violet having with Daphne in the first season when she was nearly forced to marry Berbrook, where in that time period, the most that a woman could hope for in a
fulfilled life is children.
Because I mean, at the end of the day, for as tough as they are, I love being a mum, and like I will 100% be the advocate of saying that Ezra is the greatest thing that I've ever done in my life. I adore him to no end, and I think he is my greatest achievement. And that's not to say that women cannot have many other amazing achievements. And I like to surround Ezra with men and women who both, like, I love watching Emily's Wonderlab because I think that she is an amazing woman of a STEM woman who encourages young girls and young children to go into STEM. And I love so many, there's actually a lot of female astronauts that I like watching.
But I think even any one of those women, if they have children, they'd say the same thing. Their children is their greatest achievement. Their children are their greatest.
One of their greatest, yeah. So it's never ever to undermine, because like I would hope for most dads out there, they would say the same. And it's not to downplay the other achievements. It's just that children are so beautiful. And like, I think when you become a parent, like your literal biology changes, where they are just at the heart of everything that we do. And they encourage us to be the best versions of ourselves, whether that be going for, you know, a new promotion at work because you want to be the best in your field so your children feel proud of you, or you want to earn more money to be able to go on nicer vacations, that when you are off work, whatever. Like, I think children and partners and friends, like, we encourage each other to be the best versions of each other because we want to for them. I'll get off my out though.
No, and I agree. And I'm adoptive mom, but still the same thing. Like, when I made that conscious decision, it changed, and I did a lot of healing. Like, I had not acknowledged my mother's contribution to my childhood. You know, like, usually in a divorce situation, you make one parent a saint and one parent the devil, right? And I had done that for many years. And it was really seeing the humanity and trying to help my son understand the humanity in his own mother's situation and the choices that were made for her that she didn't get to make or that she made. Trying to help him see her as human with decisions based on what she's presented with in life, that actually helped me be able to see that my father and my mother were both human. And that they both made decisions based on the situations they were in, that so neither one was a saint and neither one was the devil, but they both shaped who I became as an adult because of the childhood I lived through. So like he is always will be like I don't get to say one of my creations. Like he will always be one of the best choices I ever made. Even if like I had to marry his dad to be able to adopt him in the state we were in because of their laws at the time. So I ultimately have that same divorced woman trope.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Portia sounds more like a divorced woman here than a widowed woman. Right? Of regardless of how badly the relationship went, I had to go through that to get my son. And she's saying the same thing, like regardless of who he was, he gave me you.
And as you were saying before about the fact that you were working 4 or 5 jobs at one point in order to be able to provide, because
not all full-time, guys, like some of them don't let you be full-time,
but you know what I'm saying, you were working multiple jobs in order to support your family, because as Portia says, like everything that I had done was in the hopes of giving you and your sisters a better future than what I had. And it's acknowledging, she's like, well, I married someone for that better future. He didn't give it to me, so I had to go and get it for you girls. Like, yes, you may not always like the way that I operate. Yes, I might be hard at times. Yes, I might ruin our reputation at times, but everything that I have done, whether good or bad, has always been to better your lives. And I think that is true. Although she is an inherently selfish, I think that in her heart, she always at least feels like she is doing what is in the best interest of her daughters.
The thing is, though, is that, and I relate a lot to Portia in this season as we look back at what she's probably through. Because when you are in survival, when you are doing everything you can possibly do just to keep all the plates spinning that you're required to spin and to keep everything together and to make the ends meet, sometimes, like she said, there might be other options, but you don't see them because you basically got your head down and it's like walking in a snowstorm, right? If you're walking in a snowstorm, because I've only done that twice in my life, actually that in Ohio. If you have to walk somewhere in a snowstorm, you huddle in, hands in pockets, or, whatever, and you put your head down and you watch your feet. You watch your feet to make sure you don't slip and fall, but you put yourself in the direction you need to go. And you are watching your feet. You are not seeing necessarily everything going on around you because you are focusing on getting somewhere where you can get warm. And when you're in survival, it's the same thing. You're putting your head down and you're just trying to get through this situation to get on the other side in the hopes that you can breathe once you get there. And I think that Portia has lived a lot of life waiting for the next breath. And so it looks selfish, but it's survival. It's the best she had.
I think that this moment was a moment of huge realization for the both of them, stepping into kind of each other's, not that Portia stepped into Penelope's shoes, but she is now acknowledging that Penelope and Colin are a love match, and she's trying to guide based on that. So I actually, this is one of my favorite interactions between Portia and Penelope in the season. Yes. This is kind of where Portia leaves the room and the scene pans out with Penelope looking at her engagement on her hand, which is placed over the Lady Whistledown article. And it's like the tip of her heart torn between each other. Like it was a really, really good moment of symbolism, because obviously we as the watchers know exactly what it is that she's pondering over at this time, because she's just had the Eloise conversation. So we know that she is pondering, like, can I give this up for him? Like, I love him, but is love enough as a woman?
But I love me too. Yeah. And I'll actually say, like you said, this is one of your favorite scenes between Portia and Penelope. This is actually probably one of my favorite scenes between any mother and their daughter, because it's real and it's genuine and it's honest. Because even if you think about the wisdom that Violet bestowed upon Daphne, still wasn't enough wisdom to help Daphne actually in her marriage. And Violet didn't open up too candidly about her own self. She admitted that her and Edmund didn't wait, but not in any kind of real conversation way. Like, this is Portia, like, really opening up and being raw and genuine with Penelope.
The only time that we Violet getting raw and candid on that level is with Anthony, and I think that is because he did really need because obviously I think he's the only one who suffered near on the level that Violet did, because he's the only other person so dramatically when Edmund died. Like, yes, all the siblings lost their father, but Anthony lost his father and got thrust with responsibility all in the same breath.
Well, and I'll say same thing though. Violet was candid with him, but lectury. She wasn't candid with him until he almost went through what she did with Edmund, which is watching a person he loves with his whole heart almost die. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when she got genuine and candid with any of her children.
Or as much as we do crap on Portia's parenting at times, we do have her now pulling aside all three of her children to have very candid conversations about how babies are born, about marital duties, about how to be a wife to a husband, and sometimes the expectations. And as much as the expectations aren't always fair, life ain't fair. And those are the expectations of the time. And we do have to remember this is a period of the time. So would I expect my mother to have that conversation with me now in 2025? No. But for the time, yes.
I think Philippa's was a year or so too late, but at least it happened.
Yeah. Poor Finchie.
And I think that's truly the theme of the season, though, is that the value of truth, and truth not just being saying something accurately, but also saying it out loud. Because Colin and Penn only finally get together when they say their feelings out loud. Portia and Penelope can't start healing their relationship until Portia admits these things out loud. Eloise and Penn can't repair until some things are said out loud. So this isn't just this is a whole case study in truth. What is truth? Is truth just like your shirt is yellow? I obviously told a lie because it's not. So is truth just saying something actually as it is? Or is truth also saying the quiet part out loud, the thing you try and keep to yourself? Like, would we be here if Penelope would have not gotten so upset that Colin was leaving at the end of season 1? Or if Colin would have admitted the real reason he was in the Featherington drawing room, because it certainly wasn't Marina, because he never looked at her until he bowed at her to leave. His eyes were on Penelope the whole time. Like, if he would have said some stuff out loud, would we be here? So, like, I think there's a lot of truth that gets said in this season that needed to be said. And it makes us realize, like, is it the truth if you never get it out, if you never say it out loud, right?
Yeah. I know that we don't want podcast end, because as much as you guys, the listeners, will not feel the gap in between, this is the last time that Patty and I will be recording together, or potentially whether
don't say the last time. We're traveling. We don't jinx us like that.
I said for 2 weeks or a month,
for a while,
for a few weeks. And we are used to having unfiltered access to each other, and Patty is not
just once a week either.
No, it was once an hour minimum. And Patty is going to be on
we have gaps. I do have to sleep, and so do you.
I mean, you know what? That's not even true, because we quite often will wake up in the middle of the night, reply to each other, and then go back
to sleep. Quit calling me out. Just did that last night.
For today, gentle listeners, we will leave it there and continue on next month's episode.
See you in 2026. It already is 2026 for you.
It's actually if you have anything in particular you would like us to cover, or any Bridgerton knowledge you would like to share, please head to our Facebook page, The Ladies Bridgerton. And if you are enjoying our podcast, please remember to click like, subscribe, and leave comments wherever you're listening. Sharing is also super duper helpful.
Very encouraged. Once again, thank you for listening to the musings of two mad women with technology issues.
Technologically challenged women.
Yeah, two technologically challenged.
It was truly Ash the Kiwi
and Lady Patty.
Oh, no.